ago, before I ever stepped a foot into Korea, I used to watch Korea YouTubers all the time, and one of my favorite type of videos were these Korea story times where the wildest things would happen to these people. And today it's time for me to share a wild story time. Today I will tell you the story of how a Korean company tried to buy my silence. The tea is hot, so grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and let's hang out.
I know sooner or later it will come.
I'm so excited to finally tell you the story. Are you ready? So basically, I was invited to an event in Seoul. The event in question was a very big one. I can't name any specific brands or specific people, but it was a big event. And many important people and representatives of huge companies were gonna be there. I was invited as a VIP guest, not necessarily VVVIP, but like VIP, together with my fiance SB. Traffic from where I live to Seoul is always so bad, so usually, even though in distance it's not that far away, it does take around a 2-hour car ride to get to Seoul. And once you're in Seoul, finding parking spots is really tough. This is all relevant, okay? So we arrive at the event building or event area, and we're looking for parking spots, but as expected, there are no parking spots anywhere outside. It's impossible, it's Seoul. And then we drive to the back of the event building. And to our surprise, at the back of this event building, there was this big car elevator. I have never seen a car elevator in my home country, so I'm quickly gonna explain what that is in case your country doesn't have car elevators either. Car elevators are basically the same thing as an elevator for human. It's just a bit bigger and it can carry higher weights to transport a car up to several floors. So we approached the car elevator with our car, and a man comes to our window as he rolls his window down. And the man asks what we want or where we're going. So we said, oh, we're here for so-and-so event. We just want to park. He nodded and said, okay, go in, just press the code 17. It might make a weird beep tone, but it's the right code, don't worry. We're like, okay, that's weird, but all right, 17 it is. The doors of the car elevator start rolling up. Usually elevators open like this, but the car elevator opened like this. I've never been inside a car elevator, so it kind of felt weird and claustrophobic. Like we entered the car elevator by car, and then the door closed behind us, and it was so tight and kind of scary. SB then pressed the code 17. It made a weird beep tone, and then the elevator started moving. We're going up. We're both kind of scared. The elevator moves pretty slowly, I guess because it has to carry such a big weight. And we drive an electric car, so it's heavier than like normal cars. We arrive on what I assume is the 17th floor. I might be wrong because the building didn't look that high, but since the code was 17, it might as well be the 17th floor. Whatever. So the elevator door starts rolling up and we drive out and we're on a rooftop, tons of empty parking spots. I think there were only around 3 to 4 other cars there. To my surprise, because this is a huge event, I expected there to be more cars. But we also kind of arrived super early, so it's possible that all the other people just hadn't arrived yet. So we parked the car. I also take some photos on the rooftop because rooftop photos are aesthetic. And then we start looking around to find a way to get down because we cannot take the car elevator to go down. That's for cars. And then we saw this little staircase. I'm thinking it's a little weird while walking down these stairs because there are no signs. Like usually when you're on the parking lot, there will be arrows pointing you to the right way. Like for example, event hall or parking lot, event hall, restroom, you know, like that. But there was no such thing. It was just a dark, small staircase. We walked down the stairs and every few floors there's a small door, like a back door, where people in black clothes and hats and masks sneak in and out. On some floors the door was open, on others it was closed. And I'm pretty sure those doors weren't main doors, they were back doors because there were no signs on what type of place these doors were leading to. It's all kind of giving me the shivers, and I keep telling SB like, this is so weird. Why would they make the staircase so weird? Stairways, staircase. Why is everybody acting so weird? I don't know, like it was just such a weird atmosphere. We're like whatever and walk all the way downstairs and we arrive at this huge massive door. I was so confused why they made the way from the parking lot to the event site so uninviting and weird / confusing. So SB opens this massive door. He pulls it towards us, but it's covered with this black curtain. I pull aside the curtain and look out. I'm like, this is just plain weird. And there's this security guard standing right in front of us. I pull away the curtain and we walk out casually. We go to the info desk, we get our name cards, we go to the event. It's a nice event, it's really fun. And I think after 2 or 3 hours, we were kind of done and we wanted to go back home. I think it was around 4 p.m. when we decided to go back home. Obviously, we needed to get back to our car, which is on the rooftop. So I thought, okay, we'll just take the same way up we took down. So we walked towards the black curtain. The massive door is hidden behind, you know, the one we used earlier. But remember that security guard that was standing right in front of the door? The same security guard just blocked us. He's like, where are you headed? Upstairs. We parked our car there. Who are you? We show our name cards. He's confused and says, I can't let you go through that door. I don't have permission to do so. We're like, what? Our car's upstairs. He's like, go talk to them, and points us to the information center. So we go to the info desk, we explain the situation. We parked our car on the rooftop, we came down those stairs behind the black curtain. We want to head home now, but the security guard said he cannot let us go upstairs again. People at the info desk, they kind of seem stressed. They're not reacting like we're inconveniencing them. They react stressed, as if something bad happened. I don't know. It just seemed weird. It just seemed off. Like everybody was like, and the woman at the info desk started calling people. And then this other guy came and he was also calling people, and they were apologizing to us in between calls. I'm like, what's happening here? This should not be that complicated. We just want to go to the parking lot. It was weird. So the information desk guy, he was this super tall guy, and he was like, okay, we're really sorry for the inconvenience. Please follow me, I will help you. I was like, yay. We're finally getting to the parking lot. So we follow the man. First stop, he leads us to the security guard, the one who didn't let us pass through earlier. And they talk to each other. They identify each other towards each other. And then the security guard calls someone through his earpiece. He's like, and lets us through. So we pass the security guard, we pull the curtain aside, open the massive door, and go in. The info desk guy keeps walking us, so he keeps leading us. He walks upstairs and we follow him, just like a little duck family. We keep walking upstairs until I think the 3rd floor. On the 3rd floor, we get stopped by another security guard. And let me tell you, the 3rd floor did not look the same way it did when we walked downstairs. When we were walking downstairs, it was just empty. It was just a staircase and there was this back door. But now there were these black curtains again, and the black curtain was blocking the back door to this room or hall. We could also hear loud noises. That's not the type of noise it makes when it's a small space. So I think immediately to the back door was probably a small room, and then behind that was probably the hall. Whatever, I couldn't go inside, so I don't know, it's just my deduction. Anyway, everything's covered with these black curtains. That was not the case when we walked down earlier. So the security guard stops the info desk guy manager and asks what we're doing there or where we're heading. And the info desk guy manager explains the situation. The situation is we parked our car on the rooftop and we want to go home, so we need to get back to our car. Easy. The security guard asks the info desk manager guy to identify himself, to show his his hierarchy level thing. He has this card that shows like his full name and his work rank. It has like a barcode on it, all of that. He also showed this thing earlier to the other security guy downstairs. So the security guard looks at his name card, which is a fairly high level. It's a very high level because he's the manager of the info area. He's not just a random part-timer or anything. But the security guard says, you're not allowed to go in either. Like, I know you're very high level, but you're not authorized either. So I guess for the first floor, everybody can kind of go in. Not everybody, but his level can go in. And then on the third floor, you need to be even higher level, I guess. Like level as in work hierarchy. In Korea, hierarchy levels at jobs are extremely clear. So I guess this infodesk manager guy's level, even though it was very high, was not high enough to go through the third floor upstairs to the fourth floor. So the infodesk guy manager explains the situation again. The security guard is like, I'm sorry, no authorization, can't do anything. And then they start doing phone calls again. Our infodesk guy calls up some people, the security guard calls up some people, and it takes a while, but at one point, finally, we are able to walk through that black curtain. It's like unlocking these levels in a game. So security guard opens the curtain and we walk upstairs some more. One important thing we noticed, and it's important to know this in order to understand the situation we're in, is that the security guards are a separate entity from the event organizing company. The security guards are working for a security company that was hired by the event organizing brand. And the man I keep referring to as infodesk manager guy is one of the managers who is overseeing the event and who was called up by the infodesk woman to help us out because he's a manager and he has the authorization to at least get through the first floor door with us. So these are two separate entities. That's just the most important thing you have to know now. This is very important to keep in mind, okay? And the manager who leads us upstairs keeps apologizing to us profoundly all the way until we finally reach the rooftop. We're like, yay, we're finally back on the rooftop. The manager goes to the car elevator and presses the button, but it's off. The elevator is off and it seems like he cannot turn it on. After the car elevator door doesn't open, I see the manager doing another phone call. He's talking to someone, but he's a bit farther away. I think he doesn't necessarily want us to hear the conversation maybe. He comes back to us and he explains that the car elevator cannot be operated right now due to security reasons because of another event. I think it was the event we were hearing the sounds of when we were walking upstairs. Anyway, the manager says that he cannot get permission to start the car elevator until the end of the separate event. He apologizes to us again profoundly. It's basically like a hostage situation. Okay, I don't want to make light of hostage situations, but imagine wanting to leave somewhere but you can't because they don't let you, because your only way out is blocked. It's very uncomfortable if you think about it. Like, they let us park on the rooftop, but now they won't let us leave. It was very strange, but I have to be honest, despite it being very strange and uncomfortable and them having us wait in very hot weather, neither I nor SB were annoyed or mad. I think we were both like, okay, whatever, like it was kind of fun. We were just really confused. The manager calls the head of security of the security company. Remember, the manager that is helping us right now, he is not part of the security company. He is part of the managing team of the event. He's on the phone with the head of security and he tells us that the head of security asked him to speak to us directly. We were like, okay, and gave them SP's phone number. The manager forwards SP's number to the head of security of the security company. And soon later, the head of security calls us. SB picks up the phone. The head of security was a wonderful lady. She asks us to wait 30 minutes until the event is over. You have to know, by this point, we've already been struggling to get upstairs for like an hour or something. And she asked us to wait another 30 minutes. They said they could not operate the car elevator anytime before that. We had to wait until after the event. And then she said something very surprising. She asks how she can make it up to us. That is very strange. She asks how she can make it up to us. To be honest, none of us would be like, how dare you? Wow, you know, SB and I were so chill. We were just waiting. So it was weird that she asked, how can I make it up? Like, how can we make it up to you? Okay, obviously, they kind of kept us hostage for 1.5 hours, but I don't know, usually when you get bad customer service or whatever, they don't really make it up to you. It's just bad luck, you know. We didn't quite understand what she meant by that, and I think we didn't really properly respond to that anyway. The call ended, and after the call, the manager, the helpful manager, asks us what the head of security said. I'm thinking that's really funny that you ask us what she told us. Aren't you guys like communicating to each other? Are you not in the know of what you guys are doing? I guess it makes sense because the head of security wanted to ask us how she can make it up to us. And I'm gonna make a hypothesis on this later on. You're probably quite confused right now, but let me tell you, I will make a really good hypothesis and conclusion, so we will get a very clear picture on what is actually going on here and what is not being said between the lines. Everything's very indirect, very Korean style. Anyway, we tell the manager that she told us to wait 30 minutes until the end of the event. And the manager was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I will go downstairs and I will get you guys some gifts as an apology. And then he leaves. Get us some gift as an apology. I did not expect that. That's so nice. That's so sweet. Like, well, that wasn't necessary. Like, yeah, we were kept there involuntarily for over an hour, but a gift? That's so sweet. Anyway, so the manager leaves and we were like, okay, let's just get inside our car and wait in there until this whole ordeal is over and they start the car elevator again. And then suddenly this lady appears on the rooftop. She's wearing a suit, like dark sunglasses. She's kind of giving Men in Black. She has a tie on, suit, super clean, sleek, like really security guard. And she has an envelope in her hands. She's looking around and then she looks right at our car. Don't ask me how she knew in which car we were, but she walks towards our car. SB quickly gets out of the car and the head of security apologizes profoundly and she hands over the envelope and she's like, we're very sorry. You were never supposed to be sent up here by that car elevator. The man downstairs, you know, the one who allowed us to enter the car elevator and enter the parking lot on the rooftop, he works for the building. So he does not work for the security company. He does not work for the event organizing company. He just works for the building, specifically for the car elevator and parking lot. In Korean, they called him 반장님. They were kind of blaming it on him, but not too strongly, but kind of blaming it on him. So yeah, we were never supposed to be sent up this rooftop, apparently. Anyway, SB takes the envelope and gets back in the car, and we close the door. We're both kind of confused, like everything's so over the top, you know? It all just seems a lot of things are happening, but not a lot is said. What is the situation? What's going on? Anyway, I look at the envelope in SB's hands. I'm like, what's that? What's in there? You know, let's check. Maybe there's like a 10% discount coupon for Lotte Market and we can buy some groceries or something. Who knows? And I take the envelope and I open it. I'm like, $300. $300 cash. What is happening? Why is the security company giving us money? At this point, I'm confused. I don't know what's happening anymore. The security head is gone at this point. She kind of disappears. But then the manager who said he was gonna get us some gifts returned with like 2 huge bags. And he came up to our window and he apologizes again to us. He's like, we're so sorry. He's like giving the vibes that he thinks it's really annoying that the security company is making us wait so long, and he hands over these bags with gifts and apologize, and we take the bags. I'm not gonna say no to some gifts. And I'm like, let's check what's inside these bags. What kind of gifts? Inside the bags were 2 film cameras. Like, hello. Well, that's pretty cool. So we both get really excited. Wow, we just got $300 and a bunch of gifts. And after waiting another after a few minutes, finally, we were able to take the car elevator and leave. And you must be very confused right now on what happened. And now I need to tell you everything between the lines that was not said, but that I conclude. This is a very Korean way of handling things and not having to say things directly. So this is what happened. Obviously, the whole situation was very confusing, but SB and I discussed everything, and our conclusion based on the fact on how shocked everybody was about this situation and how we were obviously never supposed to be allowed to enter the rooftop parking lot under any circumstances, and them giving us so much money and so many gifts. Usually in a situation like this, they could just be, well, tough luck, just wait it out and get the hell out of here. But that's not what they did. They wanted to make it up to us. So that means the $300 and the gifts were basically hush money to stop us from complaining to the event organizing company. The security company gave us $300. As I said, they were hired by the event organizing company. I cannot tell you who, but the organizing company is a multi-billion-dollar company. They're one of the biggest companies in the world, and the security company would definitely get a lot of problems if they got wind of this huge security breach, because we were never supposed to be let on that rooftop. It seems like the rooftop was supposed to only be accessible for VIP. Think high-level politicians, multi-billion-dollar CEOs, or A-list celebrities, not just one VIP guests like us. This is a huge security breach, and if we would complain to the company, they would have lost this multi-billion-dollar company as a client. They probably would have had to pay a huge fine for the security breach, because this is all agreed upon contractually between them, and they could have possibly been sued for an even higher amount of money for contract breach and. Okay, we get that, but the manager who works for this multi-billion-dollar company already knew about all of this happening. So even if the security guard gives us this hush money of $300, what is it worth when someone who works at that company already knows? That someone also does not want the even higher ups of the same multi-billion-dollar company to get wind about this security breach. Because even though the info desk guy manager is not in charge technically for security, he is still a responsible manager for this event. Who are they gonna hold responsible internally when something bad happens? Him, because he's in charge. So the gifts, the film camera, and the cute merch were his harsh money to us, because he does not want any of his higher-ups to get wind about it either. So we got harsh money both from the security guard side and from inside the company, from the workers who did not want the higher-ups to hear, because it would cost them their jobs. So what do you think? Do you interpret things that happened the same exact way as me, or do you have a different hypothesis? I think this shows us again how differently different cultures can also handle problems like this, because giving you hush money but never literally saying hush is such a Korean thing to do. But in their eyes, they said hush by giving us that stuff. What a fun experience. Anyway, that's it for today's video. If you'd like more story times like this, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I thank you so much for watching. I'm curious to see what you guys think in the comments. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye!